Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the home of New Holland in the UK in a not so sunny Basildon, but that's never stopped us before, and we're here today to learn more about its brand new combine development, which is the CH7.70. Now, to help me and you learn a lot more about it, I have New Holland's king of combines, Mr. Nigel Honeyman himself, and he's going to tell us more about the brand new combine. So Nigel, to kick off, CH, what's that stand for then?
Crossover harvesting.
And crossover harvesting, what is that in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, it's the best of both worlds. We have conventional combines which use straw walkers and a conventional transverse drum at the front of the machine, and we have rotary separation with our CR combine. What we've done is we've taken the best of both, put them together into a smaller package, and that way that we've got a very compact, very high output combine harvester.
Ideal. So CH7.70, where does that sit in your combine family, in your combine range?
It's very difficult to place it exactly because of the crossover between the conventional range and obviously the big CRs. Where it will actually fit is probably halfway down the CX flagship range of combines in terms of output.
Right.
Technically, it is what is known as a mid-range combine. Now, mid-range combines are only mid-range simply because of the horsepower that they have. So anything sub 400 horsepower becomes mid-range. So technically it's mid-range, but in terms of output, it does punch a little bit above its weight.
Perfect. And then you just mentioned then power levels. So what is the power level of this combine, and what is the sort of grain tank capacity, just to kind of give people an idea of this model?
Currently, this combine is running at 375 horsepower, which is just about what it needs for the output levels that we've got with it. Grain tank size, 9,200 litres. So a little over 6 tons if you've got a bit of good weighing wheat going into that side of it. In terms of header size, we typically would suggest that it goes with an 8.5 metre or 28 foot header, although all our testing was done with a 30 foot and 9 metre header when we tested it in the UK in previous years.
Right, and how did that go with the 30 footer on the front of it?
Very well indeed.
Yeah.
In terms of the output levels that we could get with this machine against the CX6 range that it's based on, it was actually quite phenomenal.
Now, in terms of the number of models at the moment, you've just got the one, the CH7.70. Any plans for any more, bigger, smaller?
Well, technically there's a second model. There is the CH770 Laterale, which uses a chassis leveling system.
Right.
So we twist the final drives to be able to level the entire chassis. So that one may be used in more hilly environments where people need to keep the chassis level.
Now, you've already got a broad range of combines with the twin rotor CRs and your conventional CXs. What kind of customer are you aiming this at? You know, what's driven the development of this combine?
Traditionally and historically, I have been very much against this combine. I have to be honest with that one, until all of a sudden the penny dropped. Where this combine fits absolutely perfectly is for those people that traditionally are straw walker customers. And traditionally they're straw walker customers because they want the straw. But they're running into a functional capacity limit of straw walkers. With a straw walker combine, the functional capacity limit is traditionally the walkers themselves. Just using gravity and lifting and dropping the straw, we've had a problem over the last 8 years with green straw. Farming has changed, the agronomy has changed, people are trying to keep the crop alive for longer. That's resulting in green straw, and that is resulting in grain losses over the back. What we need was more powerful separation. We can thresh at the front, take the grain off the plant, we can thresh at the front, that's not an issue. But we needed more powerful separation. And that's exactly where the CH comes in. It fills the hole that people have reached a plateau with where they can go with the conventional combine. They need more output. This is the solution for that.
So in terms of the elements that you've taken from the CR twin rotors and the CXs, the conventional combines, what are the main elements that you've actually married together? You've already alluded to it, but just sort of flesh that out a little bit.
What we've done is we've taken the threshing element, so getting the grain off the plant, from the CX mid-range combine that we've got, the CX6.70 in fact. So we have a 606mm diameter drum, 60 inches across, mixing units there just to confuse people up, but a six walker drum, and we have a rear beater. Now, the one thing that we haven't taken from the CX, and it's quite important, is the rotary separator. Now, we invented the rotary separator back in the mid-70s with the 1500 series, and we've had it on virtually every straw walker combine after that. helping with this powered separation to get grain out of the straw mat. What we've done with this machine is we have not included the rotary separator. Why? Because we've got two dirty great 3.5 meter long rotary separators sitting in behind it that can take the grain out of the straw mat. The advantage that gives us is grain damage and a lack of it. When we were testing this machine this summer in very dry conditions, when we were talking dry 9% barley, we were having no discernible grain crackage or grain skinning whatsoever. Now, for people who are growing for either a seed crop or for a malting crop, that is absolutely crucial. So we've taken the threshing element from CX, we've taken the separation element from CR, albeit slightly smaller, slightly longer, combine the two together, and that's where the crossover comes.
Now, in terms of USPs for this new CH combine, obviously there's other combines on the market that do combine conventional threshing technology with rotary separation. What sets this one apart?
Well, you've got to remember that we've done this before as well. We did it with the TF many years ago in the 80s, where we combined a traditional front end with a rotary separation behind it. What sets us apart? We're looking at 4 things in particular. People, if we're targeting the market that is a traditional straw walker market, the reason they're traditional straw walker is they fancy their straw. They want to keep the straw, and they've got this mind block in their head that rotary combines kill the straw. So what we've got here is we've got a combine that can actually produce good straw, and it's not muck and magic. There's a fundamental reason for it, and that is that the rotors themselves turn a lot slower than ever they would in a CR combine. We've talked about it already, grain damage. We need to be able to run this machine for those people that are doing spring barley, who are doing seed crops, those people that need to make sure that they don't put 5% crackage, 7% crackage through into the grain tank. We're looking also at residue management. Now, the residue management on this machine is not as sophisticated, as complex as the big CR, but again, looking at the customer that it's going towards, it is more than sufficient to spread the chaff to the full width of a 30-foot header, and yet also do the straw chopping as well. And finally, the one thing that's absolutely key at the minute in these troubled and difficult times is to be able to understand costings. However someone measures cost, whether it's an annual payment, whether it's cost per acre, cost per ton, this machine here is simply a lot more affordable than a traditional flagship combine. So it puts a new combine within the reach of farmers everywhere today.
Now, in terms of those challenging and troubled times that we seem to find ourselves in 2020, now you managed to briefly get the combine out on the road, did a little bit of a tour. How's it gone, or how did it go? How did it compare to maybe some of your other combines in your range in terms of throughput?
In terms of how it went on, we obviously with the COVID we couldn't get customers up through the cab because of all the sanitisation that needed to be done there. So we took the combine on a tour around the country, starting in the southeast, and we ended up just up in Perth, up in Scotland, for the final day of that one. Mainly showing the dealer network what this is, what is different about it, and why we've introduced it. How it went incredibly well. Down in the southeast at the time we were in very dry conditions, phenomenally, I mean sub 10% spring barley we've been cutting with that machine. Very good output. What we saw in the wheats as well was running up into the high 30s, low 40s in terms of tons an hour, which in terms of a straw walker combine puts it rather up into the 6 walker flagship machines. Those that traditionally run into the bottleneck and run into the capacity limit of I can't go any faster because I'm shoveling it over the back of the straw walkers. So that's where this machine will actually take over. We ran it in very damp conditions in the northeast, 28% wheat, which I think you just needed a sprinkle of salt, and we could have called it porridge or something similar to that. But all of those conditions there, the separation carried on as before. The power of the separation, the centrifugal force that the rotors can generate, managed to get the grain out of sopping wet straw, which was mightily impressive. Typically, I wouldn't recommend cutting at 28%. Up in Scotland, they would say that's a normal day in the Highlands. But in those conditions, it still actually works.
And it just showed it could do it.
It showed it could do it.
Nigel, thanks for setting the scene. I think it's time we got onto the panels of this new beast of yours
and had a look.
Perfect.